All right, everybody. Welcome to Matty Sports for you and me. Got a very special guest from the local area. This dude's one bad motherfucker. If you didn't see his last fight, then you're not from here. There's something wrong with you because this dude just totally had a great fight if you didn't see it. Although wasn't the best result, but I do have the twit from what you said after that you eat spinning back kicks like that for breakfast. And you sure as hell fucking did, man. You sure as hell did. And yeah, I watched every single minute of that fight and I was like, dude, this guy holds his own. Like you did, like you proved that you are a good contender in the UFC. And you got a big fight coming with Chase Hooper, who is 9-1, but records don't mean shit. I mean, you're 11-4. I mean, you've had battles of your own with the Contender Series and all that. So before I go any further with that, what made you start and what got you into mixed martial arts?
So I mean, like way back when, let me just adjust this. Sometimes I scream when I have both headphones on. So, I wrestled all through high school. I graduated, 2005. So that's right when, the Ultimate Fighter season 1 and 2 were gaining a lot of popularity. That was back when Chuck Liddell was the Iceman, and he was the guy that everybody knew. It was before, WEC was still a thing. So that kind of gives you a time, like a judge of what was going on in the MMA world. And it was always something that I had this thought in the back of my head, like, man, I would love to do that. But the idea of getting punched in the face scared the shit out of me. So I wrestled in high school and kind of just let that be a pipe dream. And then, say 4 years later, I'm in college, finishing up out in Colorado, and decide that, I was pretty much done playing rugby and needed something else to stay active. And I ended up getting involved at a gym where Brandon Thatch was teaching Muay Thai, and the owner of the big regional promotion, it was actually his gym that I was training at. So it was a great community, a great atmosphere, a lot of talent. And coupled with my wrestling, picking up the stand-up fairly quickly, coupled with my wrestling, like I was saying, they invited me to team training. We're like, hey, we think you could be a really good look for some of our guys that have a hard time with wrestlers. Do you want to come down for a week of team training and see how it goes? And I fell in love with it. I started doing some jiu-jitsu tournaments here and there, and it really relit that same fire that I had in my heart with wrestling in high school. And I just saw it as a possible way to continue with my competitive athletic lifestyle and make a living out of it. And I mean, of course, way back then, I hadn't fought yet. It was still just a dream, things that I was thinking of. And fast forward a couple of years, I moved home from Colorado. My cousin, he was fighting as an amateur at the time. And I said, hey man, you drive by my house every day. Why don't you pick me up on your way to the gym and I'll start coming to train with you? And a couple of months later, took my first amateur fight. I lost. I fell in love with it. I begged my coach to fight again that night. I mean, the fight itself was a barn burner. It was a 3-round decision. I mean, the kids just beat the shit out of each other in the middle of the ring for 15 minutes. So it was a blast, and fast forward a couple of years now, he's one of my teammates and he's a buddy of mine. But getting in there and fighting just lit a fire under my ass that I thought I lost, my senior year of high school wrestling, when it was my last match at the state tournament. I walked off the mat. I never thought that there was going to be something that I could be so passionate about and continue with throughout the rest of my life. But I found it, and that was what really pulled me into the sport and made me feel like, this is something I can put my everything into and pursue it successfully.
Now, I heard you with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments and stuff like that. Now, I can vouch, my cousin's from Maryland, and he's a young kid. He was he did all that and came to Eastern Nazarene, which is in Quincy, and he went into a tournament, and he was grappling with these guys 30 years old. He was only at the time 17. So it's I understand, nobody really understands sometimes that there's a whole process besides just, hey, I'm gonna jump in the octagon and I'm just gonna start fucking shit up. Like, and I'm glad you said that, because there's more to it than just that. There's so much training and all that stuff. So I mean, with this upcoming fight coming up, how long have you been training for this fight with Chase?
So I had a medical suspension coming out of my last fight, and I went and followed up with the doctor. I got cleared on a Wednesday, and we had an email that next Thursday saying, "Will Peter Barrett fight Chase Hooper December 12th, Las Vegas, UFC 256?" And that was about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I think it was like from initial email to signing the bout, I think it'll be about a 10-week camp by fight time. So I'm about halfway through. We've been doing our homework, doing our homework, finding those areas where he might best me on his best night, and just working on those areas to make sure I'm prepared to weather those storms. So, yeah, I mean, this has been a great camp to really pull everything in and get ready for this guy. And of course, watch, I mean, not to jinx myself, but just like my last fight, I spent 6 weeks getting ready for one guy. 2 weeks before my fight, I got a new guy. So it's like we're focusing on the things that we can focus on without getting so specific, where if we do get a curveball between now and fight night, we can make adjustments and still show up and fight my best fight.
Right. And you definitely showed that last fight. Like I said, like, that was an entertaining 15 minutes. How you had the agility and the just whatever you did to just pretty much just go through 3 rounds and to take that kick, man. Like, I just I'm amazed, dude. Like, I'm still baffled. Like, this motherfucker did not go down. He stuck it out and fucking just whatever he's gonna do next, he's just gonna. Cooper's in trouble, man. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest takeaway from the Zalal fight was you're going to need a gun to stop me, and maybe two, because there's nothing that I mean, I can't say that there's nothing. I'm sure there's someone that could hit me pretty hard, but all things considered, it's going to take a gun to stop me. You're not going to be able to turn my heart off, and that's what keeps me going in those tough times. Like, I remember getting hit, my butt hitting the canvas, and just hearing Joe and Chip and Andy in my corner saying, "Get safe, cover, get safe, get up, get safe, get safe, cover." And I just knew, cover, move, let's go. I can't. There's no time. You don't have any time to delay with a shot like that. It's either you got to get up right away, or the fight's going to get stopped. And not necessarily because, he could have got a TKO there if I just didn't get up. I mean, the initial shock of that kick wasn't enough to put me out. But if he just got on top of me and held me against the cage and threw those little rabbit punches, that referee would have been in his right place to stop that fight. So there's no time to delay. Like, you get hit like that, you better be moving to get back to your feet before your ass even hits the fucking canvas. And like, that's the only thing I could think of was just don't stop, keep moving. Let's go, get back to our feet. And that was like 30 seconds into the first round. So for the next 4 minutes, I had to battle back from that adversity and just try to like level the playing field, which he started to get away from me. We knew he was going to run a lot. But I did find some success in my striking there, but it was just like, why wouldn't my first fight go that way? Like, let's do it.
But you know what? And to see you on ESPN, first of all, and to see you go a local guy, like I see everybody like you're like the local town, like local guy, and you're like the hero amongst people here. Like, everybody was watching, like the heart you had to just like people that I know that you kind of are affiliated with. Mm-hmm. And like, they're like, I can't believe he got off the fucking ground. I was like, well, no shit. Everybody thought that. And it's like, and I just know that like this Cooper fight is going to be a totally different thing. I think he'll be ready. And, what's the strategy for you? Like, do they give you a special training you can do in Vegas? Like a certain like time frame, or you have to fight outside of Vegas, like train outside of there?
So like, how early could I get to Las Vegas if I wanted to?
Yes.
I mean, I could pack up and go tomorrow if I wanted to. And then but that, I mean, I wouldn't have my camp. I wouldn't have my teammates. I wouldn't have my coaches. I could have access to the Performance Institute, but it would take a lot of work to set stuff up out there.
Okay.
Because it's not like, hey, Tuesday at 5:00, there's an open grappling class at the Performance Institute. I do have friends out there that are black belts at certain schools where, of course, I could just make a couple of phone calls, or Crew Mark could make a couple of phone calls and say, hey, one of my guys is out there. I want you guys to take him in, put him under your wing. Don't let anybody hurt him. He's fighting, in December. He wants to get as many looks as possible. But again, I'd rather be home, sleeping in my own bed.
Fucking right.
Seeing my girlfriend, seeing my dog every day, being in my community with my teammates, with the people that I know and trust. Like, the level of trust you have to have when you're getting ready for fights like this is paramount, because there's no one on the mat with me right now that someone wouldn't vouch for, to know that we're working on defending leg locks. I need to make sure that everybody that's on the mat knows, we're working to get out of leg locks. We're not trying to finish him in leg locks. So we need to get there and be safe, ride that line, let him see the things that he needs to see, make the move the way he needs to move, make the adjustments I say he, I'm talking about myself. Like, I need to have good training partners in there, not people that are in there trying to get the most out of each training session for themselves. So to just up and transplant to a new camp like that would be kind of like scary. You know what I mean? Just because I everybody that I'm with, I either know well, or Joe can vouch for them, or my coach Andy, or Crew Mark, or Chip. Everybody can vouch for someone that's training with me. There's no strangers. There's no new people. It's people that we've selected to give me certain looks. So
it's pretty much just like a family type of deal. Like, you guys are just all family. They're all in it for you. It's like everybody is pretty much Peter Barrett. You're all fighting as one.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, because and COVID has really allowed that to manifest, because normally, I'd be up in Somerville at Siyatong on Mondays and Wednesdays. I'd do the 6:00 class, the 7:00 class, and then I'd spar or do team training at 8 on Monday or Wednesday, however that worked out. But now, because, class sizes are limited, I want to make sure that there's plenty of space for the classes for the guys that pay for, let's say, like a full membership. Fighters get a different rate. So I don't want to be in class and have some other guy not be able to train because I'm in there taking up a spot for a guy that's just getting started. So we've been able to curate like this schedule where all of my training happens outside of any of the classes now. And the guys are coming in at special times just to give me the looks that I need. So it's like, without the pandemic and Corona, I don't know if my training would have ever gotten that specialized, but because we're in special times, we're making special plans. So it's been awesome, because everybody comes in to help get me better. It's not like, hey, it's team practice, let's all work on our stuff. Everybody's on the same mission. It's to get my hand raised against Chase Hooper. So it's really cool.
Well, I respect that, like you coming out and, you're talking to your people that go there, like you said, high memberships or things like that. And it's like, you're humble and you're like, all right, well, I'm a fighter too, but like, I also want to help others. So like, you want to free a spot for them. And I respect that, because like, they're your family too. And they're probably rooting you on just as much. Mm-hmm. So is that where you travel to train, is in Somerville? You're not really local around this area?
So I live in East Bridgewater, and as Lozon's is moving to Raynham off Route 44. I think it's in Raynham. But right now he's in Easton, right over by Stonehill. So that's like a 15-minute commute. So that's super close. But I mean, when I lived in Abington, I trained in Somerville. When I lived in Plymouth, I trained in Somerville. Now Siyatong's is like my home base camp. I just started training at Lozon's, I would say, about 1.5 years ago. Maybe coming up on 2 years. But he was a late addition to the camp, and I've been super grateful to have made the moves to get over there, to get underneath him, and learn under Joe. He's a great asset to have. But I would say, like, my home base camp is in Somerville. I've never lived super close to there.
What I found funny too, to add on to that, when I don't know if you rewatch your fight on ESPN, I don't know if you noticed that they said so many different towns of where you were from. It was just,
Oh yeah, yeah.
it was
Nobody
like,
knows.
you're from Plymouth, you're from Weymouth, you're from Abington. I'm like, okay, so where is he from now? Is he from New Bedford? Is he from Fitchburg? Like, where is he at now?
Yeah, like they could announce me from Colorado. He's from by way of Denver, Colorado. Like if you look up my public records, I got a couple addresses that show up there too. It's like some people ask me, "Hey, where are you from? Where do you live? Where do you train out of? You know, where's this school?" So, Sit Tong is in Somerville. Peter Barrett fights out of Somerville, Massachusetts. Peter, where'd you grow up? I grew up in Abington. Where do you live? I lived in Plymouth, and I just moved to East Bridgewater. Peter Barrett fighting out of Plymouth. Like it just they ask me questions, and they're not directly asking the right questions to get the right answers. You know, it's like. So I got announced out of Somerville. I got announced out of Plymouth. I got announced. I mean, pretty much out of anywhere but the Bing. You know, and so maybe I need to get the Bing tattooed somewhere. So when they announce me, I'm like, no, right here it says the Bing or like something. You know.
I was like, oh shit, he's from Weymouth. I'm from there.
yeah, close, but yeah, born and raised in Abington, and then more recently lived in Plymouth for a few years with my brother, and now me and my girl just bought a house in East Bridgewater. Actually, awesome. We just had our 1-year anniversary in here on the 1st.
Congratulations, man! Yeah. I'm right next door in Bridgewater, so.
Oh, right on! Hell yeah!
Right on, man. So, well, I'll probably try to hop over to Barrett's to go see your fight for sure. I'm sure it'll be on.
Dude. So I have to imagine that it won't be on ESPN Plus. It'll actually be on the ESPN.
I know
portion.
It's on a pay-per-view, but hopefully they throw that on there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, if the MMA gods decide that they want me to fight on pay-per-view, that Barrett's will not be able to show it because they have to buy a business account. That like you can get some serious fucking trouble for broadcasting a private pay-per-view stream in a business location. So technically, if you were to buy a pay-per-view and put it on in your restaurant, you have to pay for every seat in the house that could potentially see it on a television. So you pretty much pay for your capacity, and that's what they charge you. So it costs like 10 to 15 grand to put on a pay-per-view event at a bar or a restaurant. So ESPN Plus, maybe someone can bring in a Fire Stick. ESPN, no problem. If it's on pay-per-view, that they won't be able to show it. So I'm praying. It's my second fight in the UFC. It's his second fight in the UFC. Will be on the ESPN portion.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely be watching either way, bro.
I appreciate that.
So my next thing. So Apex in Vegas that's pretty much their training facility, right?
So if you are in Las Vegas, have you ever been to Vegas?
No. COVID-19 ruined that.
All right. So I think it's 225. If you drive, you land at Las Vegas International, which is right by the Strip. You drive right down the highway. You come out on, I think it's 225, and you see like the big UFC building, and that's the Performance Institute. And then a less suspecting building right before that is actually the Apex Center. And what it is like, I swear the Apex Center is like 85% incomplete. Like all they have is the arena to fight and locker rooms, and like the rest of the building is just like being finished as we speak. Okay. But the Apex Center is not the Performance Institute. It's like a block down, and they're actually just announced that they're putting like dormitories in the lot in between the Performance Institute and the Apex Center, because what they're doing right now is they pretty much bought out a Marriott courtyard, or a courtyard Marriott down by the Raiders Stadium. And, you know, one tower is the red corner, one tower is the blue corner, one tower has all the contender guys, and they just rented out the whole facility for like 12 straight weeks. And they're pretty much running the show over there. Oh, wow. So having done that, Dana said, you know, I'm going to build my own UFC hotel. So when the fighters come into town, they can stay with us, you know, at a discounted rate, or they can do their own thing. But at least we'll have our own facility to do it, and we won't be paying someone else to do it, which is what they're doing now. Oh,
that's good. Yeah.
So
good. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, is it something where it'll be uncomfortable, where you may across to Cooper, how close they are, like building the dormitories and the Marriott. Like, oh, hey, Cooper, I'll see you tomorrow, asshole.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I ran into Zalal at the Performance Institute, and like they were doing a pretty good job to make sure that him and I, that the red corner and the blue corner, whoever was fighting each other, you know, was rarely, if ever, in the same place at the same time, to prevent any sort of like bullshit shenanigans that could arise from two testosterone driven fighters seeing each other and trying to make a big deal out of everything. But you know, we were both at the PI. I ran into the locker room. Him and his team were changing out. I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, "God damn, I think that's him." He looked at me like, "I think that's him." You know, we said, "What's up?" We dapped it up. You know, it was all respect. Like,
That's
I don't
awesome.
know these kids. Like, I don't. It's not like it's a local kid that I've got beef with, and I just want to talk shit and like run with it. Like, I'll start talking shit when I start putting people away. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still earning my keep in the UFC. I need to get my hand raised, and then once, you know, which is terrible. I don't need external validation, but like having that validation of being 1-1 in the UFC after I fight Hooper, it's going to give me a little bit more of a soapbox to stand on. You know, no one wants to hear an 0-1 guy in the UFC talking shit to their opponent. Like, just show up and fight. Once you win, then we'll give you some credibility. But until I do that, I'm still the newcomer, and that's the way I'm approaching this fight. You know, with that underdog mentality. So it'll be a good night on the 12th.
Hell yeah. And I don't think you're going to throw a chair through a bus. So
no, not. I haven't drank my own Kool-Aid that much yet.
So yeah, my last thing for you, man, like what's your future even with this next fight? Like what is it that you want to accomplish? You know, what else do you want to accomplish besides you know, I know you want more fights obviously after this, and you want to get higher in the featherweight division, which is a very tough division anyway. So what's your main goal in this whole thing for you?
I mean, I want to finish the year with a couple wins, you know, let God willing, come out of the Chase Hooper fight unscathed. You know, they're looking for guys to turn around quick, get a quick fight, maybe bang out 2 victories by the end of the year. I really want a bonus, I really want a bonus, and not because I'm driven by the money, but like that's the type of performance that I really want to bring. I want to, you know, open some people's eyes and let people know that this is what I'm here to do. And this is what I was born to do, really. So finish the year out on the bang, you know, start chomping up that ladder, and, you know, just build a legacy. You know, I want people to know who Peter Barrett is when they think of the UFC. And the only way to do that is to put my money where my mouth is and win some fights. So for the foreseeable future, the only thing I'm focused on is making weight and winning fights.
Hell yeah, man. And you know what? I'm honored to have talked to you today. And hopefully, actually, I should say most definitely you're going to be 12-4. December 13th, I believe you will be. So everybody, December 12th, Hooper, Barrett, of course, we bet on Barrett, please. So again, I want to thank you for being on the show. You know, you got the support of me. You got the support of the local. You got pretty much Massachusetts on your side.
Hell yeah.
I know you're not going to the island, so I'll make sure that you get to Vegas safe.
Oh, for sure. Thank you, brother.
But yeah, again, thank you for coming on, and we'll have to have an interview soon, and we'll get that victory, bro.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to catch up after the fight.
All right, Peter. Slippery Pete now. Take care of that dude, man. Take care of Hooper on the 12th, bro. And I'll see you the 13th with the win.
Definitely, man. Thank you.
All right. See you later, man.
Peace.